Why is there so much momentum right now? Why is Bitcoin pumping up to the moon? Well, this started yesterday afternoon and really accelerated last night. People caught on. Maybe Wall Street, maybe institutions caught on. Okay, or they knew all along and they're just, loading up. But today is the start. Okay, we have about 1 week starting from today. We have this window for the SEC to basically give the okay to not only one, but all 12 spot Bitcoin ETFs. So this, I believe, is the last time before the end of this year for an approval. The next window will be in early January. So that even if it doesn't happen this time, we're probably still going to continue to rally and then look forward to the next window in January, which again is just a couple months away. But there are a lot of people, including some important analysts out there from Bloomberg and others, that think that we have a very high chance of the SEC approving not only one, but all 12 spot Bitcoin ETFs this window. And if we don't get it this time, in January, it's going to be 90%, which is basically guaranteed. So it's either between now or January, and many people think it can be now. A lot of people have predicted, man, we're just still heading higher. Look at that, 37.6 right now. We are just flying high. I'm telling you, everyone's waking up to this. Everyone in the US, that is, and Canada and everywhere else. It's going to be a crazy day. I drew this line yesterday, and the next line is up here, 39,000. It would be wild if we hit 39,000 before the end of this week. But that's a real possibility because everyone is thinking about FOMO in right now. And Cathie Wood herself is buying a whole bunch of Robinhood stock. Why is that, you may be wondering? What does Robinhood have to do with Bitcoin and crypto? Well, it just so happens Robinhood just stated they plan on expanding crypto trading to Europe. And they're going to come out the UK brokerage. And they're going to allow users to buy and sell and trade spot Bitcoin ETFs when it comes out. You see what she's doing there? She is ahead of the game. And Robinhood didn't do so well recently, so their stock tanked. So this is also a good time to be buying because, again, you buy low and you sell high, right? So Cathie Wood is all in on Bitcoin. But we know it's not just Cathie Wood. The 12 applications include some of the biggest and largest asset managers on the planet, including Fidelity. They have like $5 trillion in assets. BlackRock, like $10 trillion in assets. And everyone else in between. Everyone wants a piece of this, and everyone is finally starting to pay attention. We will get momentum before the next halving event, and we will get that huge parabolic run coming in 2024, 2025, and now other famous analysts and reporters and columnists are all talking about why 2024 is going to be so good. Grayscale, of course, let's not forget, they hold 650,000 Bitcoins in their trust. GBTC is skyrocketing right now, 240% gain in 2023, and the year is not over. And Grayscale may be the first one out of the 12 to get approval because they have an application to convert their trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. And they may be why the SEC is relenting because they lost. SEC lost the lawsuit, huge lawsuit against Grayscale because the courts ruled that Gary had no business in denying in the first place. They gave really bad excuses why we shouldn't have a spot Bitcoin ETFs when we have a futures-based ETF. The SEC couldn't come up with any good reasons. That's why they lost. So that's why so many analysts think that a spot Bitcoin ETF is going to be approved right around the corner starting today to next week. We may get a huge announcement. Grayscale gets approved, and then the rest of the 12 gets approved. So, yeah, everything is looking good, guys. I am having a kickoff party in Vegas, December 14th. So, if you guys want to come out and meet me and other influencers that are in the IFC, this is the spot to go. And not only that, Crowded Combat is going to be there. Their fighters are going to be there. I'm going to invite others in this space, other influencers, other projects. If you've been to one of my network parties before, it's going to be like that, but even bigger this time around. I have 3 different tickets. If you want to participate, you want to join, please do so. Use the code 25 off. You'll get $25 off. And for people that's been asking for a new NFT, if you go with the VIP program or ticket, you will get airdropped an exclusive I Am George NFT. That will be included. Make sure you check it out if you are interested. This is in Vegas. Remember, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. And you get to check out all the fighters, all the other influencers, myself, and all the major projects will be there. It's going to be a good party, a good time. So check it out. Binance, their open interest is jumping up as expected. All exchanges, I'm sure, are making money left and right, hand over fist now, because people are coming back. Retail investors, of course, leading the pack, but institutions, I'm telling you, institutions and whales, those Wall Street guys, they are paying attention. And is anyone selling at this point? The answer is no. No, the whales that are depositing their Bitcoins into exchanges to be sold, look at that, it's just dropping to like near zero. No one wants to miss this train. Who would be selling their Bitcoin at this point in time? Just like, who are the ones that are shorting Bitcoin? I don't get it. But there are still people that are being liquidated due to their shorts. And I guess there are still some people that are selling their Bitcoin. But this is just a silly time to do so. This is a really silly time to do so because we are right before a spot Bitcoin approval. We're right before the halving event. We're right before rate cuts. And right before SEC losing more massive lawsuits to Ripple, to Coinbase, and possibly to Binance. And this is right before the presidential election. There are so many great reasons why you should be in the game and not getting out of the game. And if you want some stats, look at some stats. I got them for you. Here's one from Marty Party that's basically looking at Bitcoin right now and looking at how basically there's someone buying, you can see those arrows, someone that's buying about $15 million worth of Bitcoin every few hours. Why do you think that's happening? I don't know. Maybe it's due to whales anticipating a spot Bitcoin ETFs approval around the corner. Or maybe some of these fund managers are starting to seed their spot Bitcoin ETFs because they need to seed them with actual Bitcoins. That's why spot Bitcoin ETFs are so important, is they actually need to buy and hold Bitcoins. The halving event, in case you don't know what that means, every 4 years, the inflation rate of Bitcoin gets cut in half. After this next one, next year, only 3.125 Bitcoins will be released every block, every 10 minutes. That gets cut in half. But in case you're wondering, 93% of all Bitcoins that there will ever be, 21 million, have been mined out. So think about that. The whole world is basically trying to fight over the last 7%. But here's the thing. That 7%, no one will ever get a drop of that. You know why? Because the miners, they are hoarding every single Bitcoin that they mine. They're not releasing any of it. They're not selling any of it. So actually, the whole world is fighting for what exists. And what exists, there's just not that much of. There's about 2 million on the exchanges. Everything else out of the 19 point something million that have been mined are held. That's what people don't realize. When you realize that the supply is so small and you have 8 billion people and the largest companies on the planet that's trying to fight for that 2 million that exists, there's not enough to go around. For any other industry, any other commodity that exists, if we had the same situation with gold, with oil, with anything, the price would be in the moon already. But people still don't believe in Bitcoin, but they will. After this cycle, I think things are going to be very different. It's going to be impossible for anyone to ignore Bitcoin after this cycle. After Bitcoin hits 200, 250,000 this cycle, the game is going to change forever. It's not going to be the same anymore.